Hi, I'm Malin, your mystical science nerd, enjoying life freely and figuring it out as I go.
And I'm Jordan, your storyteller trying to make a difference, find myself in motherhood, and raise two fiery daughters at the same time.
Together, we are two Leo moons, proof that there is no one way to be a powerful woman.
Because women contain multitudes, and we're here for all of it.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. It's been a couple of weeks since you've heard from us, but we are back on it. Life has been busy.
Very busy. But you know, absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Oh, so excited.
So yeah. I bet that you're just excited to be hearing from us as we are excited to be here together.
Yeah, I guess we can jump right into
Let's do
a
it.
Vibe check, because
Absolutely.
it has been a minute since we've had a vibe check. So astrologically speaking, if it's not on your algorithm, if it's not showing up, you guys might already know about this, but there's a lot of Aries energy going on right now. Basically, lots and lots of that like initiatory beginning. It is a new fertile beginning. And we have 7 bodies or planets, because like the moon counts when I say planet. So 7 bodies in Aries when we have that new moon.
Whoa.
It'll be the sun, the moon, Mercury, Mars, Saturn, Neptune, and Chiron will all be in Aries. So it's going to affect everybody differently. In general, lots of bold, lots of courage, lots of like autonomy, I hope. But it's going to affect all of us differently, calling back to our last episode, based on your house. So good luck out there. Good luck with all the Aries energy. We will be shifting pretty soon, so enjoy it while you can. But yeah, dig in, and like, I love Aries energy. What's new? What's exciting? I love to start a project. I love to start a project.
I love yeah.
Okay, let's jump into some political vibes.
Oh, I don't want to. I really don't want to.
I know, we're having so much fun. This is why magic is important.
Exactly.
Like stay connected to nature, blow kisses to the moon, look at the stars and be like, oh my God, I exist, and that's incredible. So while I love to start a project, I think the other end of Aries is kind of this like, Aries is the god of war. And so there is some energy of conflict or energy of abrasiveness. And so it's like the whole thing with astrology is that everything has a shadow.
Yeah.
Everything has 2 ends, right? Like everything has balance. And so the way that I was talking about it was in a very light and positive way, but like I don't want to ignore the things that people probably are very, very aware of in their life that they're dealing with.
Yeah, I think it's like I can't have this vibe check without acknowledging the fact that we are at war. There's an illegal war happening right now because of the ego and the idiocy of one fucking man. And I won't attribute it all to Trump, because there are lots of bad men behind this. There are players across the world that have been pushing for this for many, many years, and Trump is just the moron that fell for it. And there's been a lot of talk about, you know, like Trump has broken so many laws. Like, what can we do to hold him accountable? Congress could impeach him. It's more symbolic than anything else. They could evoke, I think it's the 25th Amendment.
Yes. That I've learned a little bit about.
Excellent, yeah. But it would be really hard to do because it takes the recommendation of the cabinet to basically say he's not fit to be president. And his cabinet is full of his lackeys. Like his personal lawyer is in the cabinet right now. So that would never happen. But if we can elect and take the right people and take back the Congress and Senate in November, we basically nullify the rest of his presidency. I just like, I can't, I know I sound like a broken record when I say get out and vote and take everyone you know with you, but get out and vote and take everyone you know with you in November. I believe so deeply that this experiment can work if the right people are holding the seats of power. And it needs to be us. It needs to be us in those seats. And a great example of that is Artemis 2.
Yeah.
And how inspiring it was to see good people exploring and participating in science and doing something for the good of mankind again, funded in part by federal government programs.
Yeah.
And we forget. We forget because things are so bad and so hard for so many people that it's possible for good things to happen because of government. And I have I will always understand and never judge if someone is like, I need to take a break. I didn't vote because it doesn't work. Or like, fuck the systems because they're broken. They're broken and they were built this way on purpose. And it's bad, but the idea is good and the idea can work. It's just been corrupted and twisted and fucked up by horrible, horrible people. But I believe so much in the goodness of the most that it's not over.
Your metaphor is almost that it's a dilapidated house with good bones.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think some people are very much so like, burn it to the ground. I mean, actually, they do say that.
Yeah.
Burn it to the ground and start over. But you're saying like it has good bones.
Yeah.
It has to be gutted.
Exactly. Yeah. It has good bones, but there's black mold and asbestos and really ugly tile that should be destroyed. And it's like, and did the founding fathers do everything right? Fuck no, absolutely not. A lot of them were shitheads too. Mm-hmm. And the Constitution was written as a living document. It was the whole point behind it was for it to be able to adapt and evolve as American society grew. But the idea of a representative democracy, the idea of religious freedom, the idea of freedom of speech, those are good, beautiful things.
Yeah.
And shitty people grabbed onto them and learned how to twist them to achieve their own means as opposed to do the things that they were supposed to do, which is protect the rights of people.
Yeah.
So anyway, the vibes are weird in the political world.
Yeah.
But I encourage everyone to find something, find some hope to hold on to, and take it with you to the polls in November.
Yeah. I have such a good solo scoop. I've been so excited to share. Okay. I drive a very old, it is a 22-year-old car, and it wouldn't start. I ran into some problems, and when it's not going to start, then it's like, I'm not going to tow it somewhere, and I don't have the people I need in my life to like come help me. So your girl was working on her car. I replaced my ignition switch, which is in the like steering wheel part. I was literally, so it's a coupe, so just 2-door. You have to get like underneath and looking like on the floor looking up to like screw things. So I like put the seat all the way down and was just like laying with my legs up over the chair, like upside down, trying to get that done. Replaced the ignition switch, and that did not work, which was very disappointing. But then I replaced my starter motor by myself a couple of days later. I did it in a full-length dress. I was inside of my car because the starter motor is really close to like the inside of the car. So to get enough weight to get the screws going, or not screws, they were nuts, bolts.
Yeah.
The nuts and bolts. The nuts, I know what I'm doing. To get the leverage, I was half in my car, like up on it, like literally like using all of my weight. But I did it, and I'm so proud of myself, and my car works, and it drives, and I am just like, yeah, I did that, you know?
That's so hot.
I was hot. I'm gonna own that.
Yes.
I was so hot.
That's amazing.
Very Megan Fox.
From Transformers.
Yes.
Absolutely. I have also been really proud of myself lately because I've just been doing the little things that I'm always like, oh, I don't have time to do that. Or like, oh, it would take too much to do that. Like I'm actually recognizing when there are things that I could be doing to make myself feel better or that would make me happy, I'm like, there's no fucking reason to not do it. Just go and do it. Or like figure out what the barriers are and break them down. And I am very privileged that one of the biggest things was that I got to start my youngest in a 2-day daycare program. And the thing that changed everything for me was telling myself something is better than nothing. So when I'm trying to do something to make my life easier or to make myself happy or to exercise, something is better than nothing. And so I'm very, very, very happy about that.
Everything you're saying, I'm sorry, I have to interject. It's such Aries energy of the like, just get it done.
Oh, yeah.
Met with your Virgo energy of having discernment and navigating perfectionism and criticism versus just get it done.
Wow. When the stars align and they work for you.
Yes.
No, I love that.
Yeah.
That makes me really happy because it has felt like an energy shift. I think if my neurodivergence allows me to maintain the routines that I'm trying to establish,
Yes.
I will be unfucking stoppable
Yes.
by the end of this year.
We are unstoppable.
We are.
We
We
are
are
both
unstoppable.
leaning into this energy. God.
Fuck yeah.
I love hanging out with you. We'll go back to my car for this healthy dose of masculinity. Just because I can doesn't mean I want to.
Say it louder for the people in the back. I need that on a fucking t-shirt right now.
So once I got my car running, I didn't need to keep being the person who did anything to it. And it had been sitting for 3 weeks while I was waiting on parts and fixing this and then waiting on another part. And I need a different tool. That was like a 3-week process. My tires were low. I go to Discount Tire. I have always had a good experience with them. I always get the warranty. And I got 4 new tires on this old ass car a little over a year ago. And I was like, I am not even gonna go to the gas station and try and put air in my tires. Like, I paid per tire for a warranty and they check for free. So anyway, I go to have them fill it up and everything. And I just want to say, I sat there for a while because I had one tire that was actually problematic. Like they had to like take it in. So it was unexpected. So I was just sitting and waiting. And I was so happy watching the service of the employees who are mostly men at Discount Tire. And I was like in my head about who in that company is responsible for their like branding, their service, their training, because the energy that these gentlemen had was so like my beloved Uncle Marty, where it was like confident, endearing, like, I felt safe. Mm-hmm. I felt respected. I felt like they were genuine and kind, especially as a girl walking in somewhere with needing to work on your car. It can be vulnerable because I replaced those 2 parts, but you could very easily tell me that I needed to fix and I'd be like, let me call someone. What's the word people say that men don't have it anymore?
Chivalry?
Yes.
Chivalry is dead.
Yes.
Not at Discount Tire.
Not at Discount Tire.
I think that should be their new slogan.
Yeah. I mean, yes. Like, and I just enjoyed it. I was like, I like all of these boys here.
Look at these good boys doing good things.
I should have said good boy.
You should have.
Okay. I feel like so far, once again, this has not been planned, but just in a very natural way, all of our different segments so far, we've kind of hit on the balance of everything in life, and that not everything is super good, but not everything is super bad. And you know, there's the integrated Aries energy and there's shadow Aries energy. Our scoops, it was like I felt really in my masculine, and then that made me feel really feminine. Mm-hmm. And so there's duality. And so I'm so excited to talk to our guest. Her name is Christine Horvath, and she is a professional badass. That's my title I gave to her. She really is, I kind of go into this when I talk to her, but she's an artist and a creator, a comedian, a community organizer, and a writer. And absolutely stunning human who just has so much to share. But what we really talk about and what we are going to dive into is how it's like the nuance of life. And it was so relevant to talking on 2 Leo moons, because we say, well, we contain multitudes, right? Like there's no one way to be anything. And in today's world, we are in an increasingly polarizing, in a bad way, culture.
Yeah.
Please check her out. I hope you guys enjoy the conversation. Absolutely amazing.
Hi, Christine. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm very excited to chat with you. But before we do that, I always like to ask people what their moon sign is and if they feel like they relate to that more than they do their sun sign.
My moon is in Pisces, and yes, I relate to it quite thoroughly. I don't know if I relate to it more than my sun sign because I'm a Cancer, and like, look at this, like my house is like I recently told one of my friends my house has a heartbeat, and she was like, of course something crazy would come out of your mouth. That's hilarious. But yeah, I love my house, but I am definitely in a dream world, like, I don't know, 60% of the time. So I definitely relate to my moon sign. But my rising sign is Scorpio. So I'm just like water baby all the way. I think that that's probably why there's so much like sort of blending in my identities, because it is very hard to sort of like parse everything out from each other because it's all water. It just all blends, but as far as the differentiating them, I do find that there are differences. Like when I'm working on my house, I am like in my Cancer mommy energy, like I am like here. I am when I'm taking care of my pets, I'm like, this is Cancer energy. When I'm like going deep with someone, like in a situation like this, I'm like, this is Scorpio, like I am like rising into my like Scorpio deep diver. And then at nighttime when I'm alone in my room, just like laying by myself and like dreaming about what I want to do tomorrow, that is like full on Pisces. So they are very different energies, but they all blend together like very like nicely,
So I think that will be really interesting to see how that plays into this next question, because I assume it's very strong, but can you tell me a little bit about your relationship with your own intuition?
What a good question. Oh, wow. Okay. My relationship with my intuition is quite strong, getting stronger. I think I've always had a very, very close relationship with my intuition. I don't think that I've always had a good sense of how to express it. I think I have long felt very intimidated at the idea of expressing whatever is like coming up for me very like organically, because it's odd, like a lot of times I'm like, I am not seeing the world the way that lots of other people are seeing it, because I feel like I see between like dimensions sometimes. I know that sounds crazy, but it just is what it is. Feel like I'm like, okay, I understand that there is this top layer and I see you, but underneath that there's more. So like, what's going on underneath there? And lots of times in my life I have found that it's either people can't meet me there or won't meet me there, or I feel a deep insecurity that it's just too different or too weird, and so I just haven't like shown up in that way in the world. That has been a very, very big change for me in the past like 3 to 5 years, because I've like allowed myself to be, I don't know, I've allowed myself to show those things to the world. And that's been really vulnerable and really soft, but so freeing.
Talking about this not really being any one way, maybe we can dive right in. I hope that we'll hit a lot of different things. I actually don't know I just call it gray area, but how would you describe gray area? Maybe we can start there.
I started writing a news, I call it a newsletter. I don't know. It's like it's an essay. It's a monthly essay newsletter where I just kind of like write about whatever is on my heart at the moment. And it's called Gray Area, and lots of people call it gray matter, which I don't know if that's just, I don't know why. I'm not mad about it, but I truly don't know why. I think maybe it's just like more on the top of the mind than gray area, or maybe it's just more comfortable to say. I don't know. Anyway, it's called Gray Area because it's the space between two poles, right? Like two opposites, and then what is in the middle here. Something that I learned the hard way is that extremism is really like the opposite of vulnerability. And I think that allowing yourself to find what is comfortable in the middle of two extremes is like the most vulnerable thing we can do, and the most honest thing that we can do, because it teaches you like how you truly see the world, as opposed to just like falling into like talking points of certain groups or certain, like belief systems or whatever. So it really digs into what is between X and Y, and they're all titled along those lines. So it's all like between being and becoming is the first one. And it has been so wonderful to write. I love it so much. I love when people reach out to me about what they learned from it, or what it brought up for them in their lives. But it's very different from what I was doing as a comedian for a long time. So it's definitely much more in depth and much more vulnerable for me.
I love reading this, and I love having a form of media, I guess. Is it fair to call it media?
Yeah.
It feels like cool water over my brain when I read. So if anything, that's for the listeners. Like, if you need a nice bath for your brain and your heart, then you need to subscribe to Gray Area, because that is a part of our selves that I think we're losing our ability to even perceive that kind of, communication.
You definitely hit on an important piece, which is about how we normally share media, or how we've been trained to share media, like in our, current society. And it's all online, right? And in my mind, one thing that really taught me about extremism was the way that I showed up on the internet. And so often in like my 20s, I would say my 20s, and even like my early 30s, I was showing up online in such an extreme fashion that was like, if anyone disagrees with me, they're wrong and they're a bad person. And it's like, that is not right. That's not right. It's not right. It's like, it's extremism in the same way that, like, I don't know. It's very political, it's very politicized, and it's happening on both sides of the aisle. And I believe that it is truly by design. And perhaps this is where we get into some Piscean conspiratorial thinking, which I think is fine.
Yeah.
But I do think it's like, like when we're divided, we have way less power as just a collective, as a people, because two sides are like way less powerful than, one collective. So I think that that it's been sort of bred into us over time. And you and I came up in the same era of the internet, right? Like, we got Facebook like right when we were in, like, at the end of high school, beginning of college. It was definitely very different back then. And I was just talking to my partner about the word "inshitification," which was coined by an author. I can't remember his name. Tim Crowley, maybe? Why am I thinking that? I don't know. The word "inshitification" is a thing that somebody had coined that basically is descriptive of an online platform that is initially created for users to like enjoy themselves, and then over time it becomes like a tool of capitalism, right? It becomes just like sort of a way to like collect your attention and your money, and then it just gets worse. It becomes shitty,
Yeah.
and I think that has just happened to culture, right? Like, it's just like, that's just what's happening to our culture, because people are so in the internet that it's like created this big polarization, and it's completely like hemorrhaged our like ability to pay attention for a long period of time, our ability to critically think about things, and our ability to find the place in the middle where we're comfortable. Because I think a lot of times I felt like I had to align myself with the extreme, like the liberal extreme, because that's the side of the aisle I fall onto.
Yeah.
And if I didn't align myself with those talking points, then I was bad.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you have a lot of experience with this, but that is shame. The like the actual feeling that like, if I don't do, or if I do blank, I am bad. That
Yeah.
is shame. And being in shame is extremely disempowering. And so all of that comes together for me in this moment where I'm like, I'm hemorrhaging shame. You know, like I'm going through this big period, like maybe 3 years ago, I went through this big period where I was just like, I need to align myself with who I actually am and not who I've been trained to be.
Yeah.
The first thing that I focused on was working through shame that has just been built up in my body for 30 years. And I am no longer willing to live in shame. I'm just not willing to live like that. I don't think it's any quality of life. I think living in a way that is empowering is devoid of shame, right? Like,
Yeah.
and you know, if you do something bad, then maybe you should be ashamed of yourself, but not for like having an opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, it's complicated, I know, but it's like, you know, it's one of those things that we just haven't had a lot of freedom to explore. And so gray area is my attempt of cutting through that like cultural norm and saying, I'm going to send this to your mailbox. You're going to sit down and you're going to read it with a cup of coffee.
Yes.
And you're going to think about the things, and you have no opportunity to reply to me. You may not. You can write back. You can write back. You have my address. You can write back.
Yeah.
But like, you got to think about that. You got to write that down on paper, and you got to think about it and put it in the mail. Like that is way more steps than just beep, boop, bop, send.
Yes. It's not easy to break down your own shame and to not live in it, but it is a building block of our current culture and society.
That's an interesting thought, to think about more people moving through shame, because I think it's very hard. And I think it's, I think it requires so much courage and vulnerability. And I'm not, you know, like, it might sound like I'm bragging. I don't care. But it required a lot of courage, you know, to look at the things that were really driving my decision-making and my behavior and say, why am I letting that drive me? Why am I letting pain from 25 years ago drive me? Why am I so ashamed that I may not have said the perfect thing in my work meeting today? Why is that affecting me so terribly right now? Why can I not sleep because I think I'm imperfect? And then there was this moment where I was like, what if I'm imperfect?
I feel like I have like a feral woman inside of me who's like, stop letting them box you in.
Like, if I can accept that I am imperfect, if I can accept that I did the wrong thing 25 years ago, if I can accept that maybe I did say the wrong thing in my work meeting today, but like, does that mean I'm bad? No. Does that mean I should feel ashamed of myself? No. You know, like, does that mean that I'm going to show up tomorrow and like I should be worse than I am? No, I can show up tomorrow and be just as confident, because I can like use that to learn from.
Yes.
And that to me is like the lesson in life I came here to learn. Learning about learning.
Yeah, but through your learning, you're also teaching, you know, and that is like the next integration of it. You are teaching. You are. Yeah, like whether you're trying to or not. By sharing, you are exposing people to another way of being.
Yeah, that has always been a knowing of mine. The idea that I don't know why I have to say this, but I do.
Yeah.
And it's just like, even if I'm supposed to be ashamed of it, I don't really care, you know, like I don't really care what you think. I just know that I'm supposed to say this out loud. And that's probably because my Mercury is in Gemini. And so it's just like moving fast and it wants to say everything and it wants to I think it is deeply instructive, you know, it wants to teach.
Yeah.
And like my maternal quality, I think the Cancerian like maternal quality is like very invested in that. And then the scorpionic quality of like constantly being in the state of transformation while also trying to find some comfort in between transformations, right? Like we can't constantly be like looping into new identities, but like it is just like an innate quality of mine that I change so frequently, which is why it's really hard for me to put like identities and labels on myself these days, because I know that about myself now.
I don't want to take us back too far, but I don't want to miss the opportunity to maybe hear more of your story of what helped you, what your aha moment was, and what helped you see the duality more clearly that you were living in, and the rather than the knowing that there was a gray area, the need to start living in it.
That is a really good question, and I'm going to try to answer it succinctly because it came in waves, I think. I was very outspoken and extremist on the internet about my beliefs as far as the comedy world goes, because it is such a deeply misogynistic space. I have seen way more, like when it comes to men being loud, confident, and wrong, it's like I have seen way more of those in comedy than I have in the corporate world. And I've like worked in corporate my whole career. So it's a very challenging space to exist in as a person who is not a straight white guy. It's just true. You know, even just like non-men, I think even just men have an easier time. It's a very masculine place, a field. And I don't think it necessarily has to be, but it's just kind of we've been entrained to that idea, right? And so there was something that happened in like 2021, I think, when maybe it was 2020, I can't remember exactly, but somebody in my comedy community told a lie about me, and it like made everyone question what they believe about me. It was like something about how I had like betrayed some woman in my community, which I did not do. It was untrue. But it opened up this, you know, sort of like vulnerability in who am I? Who am I? And how am I perceived? And how do people believe me? Should they believe me? Should I believe me? Like that was a moment that just changed my life entirely, because all of my social circle fell away and it was like this moment where I had to go into my shell, and really like self-examine. So this was my moment to look at myself and decide who I wanted to be. Who I wanted to be next. This was my first like big, I think, conscious transformation. And so I I found Joseph Campbell in college, which is also an essay that I wrote.
Yes.
But I found Joseph Campbell in college, and I know that he's like, you know, problematic in some ways, but he did teach me so much about cultures of the world and religions of the world, because he's a comparative mythologist. So he just like studies all of them and then kind of like condense them down into the hero's journey. It taught me that every culture and every generation of people has had the same problems that we have now. They've just looked different. And getting caught up in the polarity of it is the like essential flaw in humanity. I think one of the essential flaws in humanity. Like, is this right or is this wrong? And it's like a lot of times it's somewhere in the middle. And I had this vision of being on an elephant. I was on this like enormous elephant, and I was looking down, and there were people in my comedy community on either side of the elephant, and they were at war. They were like literally killing each other. And I was up on the elephant and I was looking down and I was like, y'all are killing each other over this?
Yeah. Yeah.
What? What are you doing? And so that was the first moment that I was like, oh, being in the middle is like, that's where the party is. That's like what is, that's the game. That's the juice, you know?
Yes.
So that was the first moment that I thought, I don't have to exist the way that I've been existing my whole life. I can be whatever I want. And that space in the middle is pure opportunity. And that was a really important moment for me. That changed literally everything. Now I have so many elephants all over my house because I just like revere them and love them and they're so wise.
How do you grapple with finding this place in life during a time that is especially polarizing, but also there is a great need for a stance?
I think it really comes down to systemic thinking for me in that sense. Like, I'm not against people, really. I'm against systems and in unjust systems. And I think that this is really what I believe. This is my personal belief system. I believe that we change systems by changing ourselves. And by that, I mean, we become people who are living in such integrity and encouraging just by being, not by preaching, not by teaching, or maybe teaching, but just by being. Just like, I'm going to live in my integrity to show you what's possible, that you live in your integrity. And if we're all living in our integrity, things are going to get better. Okay. I mean, I just truly believe that. I also believe that there are people who never will. I believe that there are just people who you can never rely on to become a person who is going to live in their integrity. And that's something that I feel that I just have to accept, because I can't change them, right? Like, I can only change me. And I think that's the biggest power that I have. And I believe what I believe. I believe that people should be free to do what they want and express themselves in the way that they want to. But I don't think that we can change people. I think the only way to change the system is to change ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's great advice. And I feel like you're providing the fast pass to what takes some people a long time to learn, because it goes right back to the gray area of that nuance of that, like, I want to work on myself, but I want the world to be a better place. I want to see the middle ground, but I need to act with intention. Like, so.
I think the best thing that we can do is take care of the people in our orbit, right? Like, in our direct orbit, the people who are like our friends, our community. I put on an open mic show that's like down the street from my house, that's at a business that is a vegan cafe that I want to continue being available to me. So, and I think it's good for the environment. I think it's good for the community. And I like that I can walk there. So I want it to keep going. So I'm going to bring business to it. I don't take any money from that event. I bring people to the establishment who pay them money. And it's a space for people to express themselves in a way that I think we really need right now. And it's almost like a service, I feel, that I perform and that I just deeply love. It's a thing that I can deeply love and give to my community that helps other people in ways that are bigger than me. And that's just that. I mean, I feel like that's the best I can do. That's the best thing I can do right now.
The natural flow of this coming back to community is just chef's kiss.
Yeah, I think it's something that people have been talking a lot about, especially since the election. People have been like, community is going to save us, but nobody teaches you how to do that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I've heard recently, one of the teachers that I follow said something like, wisdom is embodied intelligence. And I am obsessed with that. I mean, I think about it a lot. Ever since I heard it, I've thought about it pretty much every single day. But it ties into matriarchal society in this way that's like women are creators. We are the feminine is the creativity, and not even just women, but like the feminine, the divine feminine is the creativity in the world. We create life, we bring life into the world. And this embodied piece is such a huge part of wisdom, because our bodies create life. And so in order to like bring life into communities, we have to sort of embody the intelligence and be the intelligence. Every person has the divine feminine within them, and it's tapping into it. It's saying like, this matters. It's, like your feelings matter. The things that are inside of you matter, and it matters that you bring them out into the world.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Even though we've been taught that femininity doesn't matter.
Well, and then it ends up, of course, this is affecting negatively women, but everything you're saying is exactly why the patriarchy is so harmful to men, because like all of this, at least I feel like, at least in being overtly oppressed as women, then there's, like I talked about, like there's that rebel that you're like, no, like you've already been othered, whereas men are being assimilated. And so it's like in the assimilation, they're not even aware of the inner feminine, the creator side. So they're just, I feel like that could be a whole nother episode though, but yes, that's really beautiful. And like, it really, I love tying it all together. And I really enjoyed, pretty much just everyone needs to read Gray Area. And I'm so happy that you're creating it. And I'm so happy that you're willing to share your story and your voice and your thoughts and your mistakes. Like the vulnerability in just saying, I did it wrong is a skill that people are losing, So.
It's really hard. I understand why people don't do it. It's really sucks. It's like not good. Like one of my friends, I wrote an essay about how my nephew said something to me about my body that like really put me into like a shame spiral. And one of my friends had said to me, like, that was a really brave thing to write, because you're inviting judgment for yourself. And I was like, yeah, dude, like, yes, I'm imperfect. Aren't you? You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't, I loved that she said it to me, because it was very nice to hear, especially from her, who's like a person I really admire. But it was like, yeah, we got to acknowledge that we're not perfect, and it's okay to accept that we're not perfect. And that's going to save us from techno feudalism. You know what I mean? Like,
yes. What in life right now, like currently, is really lighting you up, or do you feel like super excited about?
I have been doing frequency work, which is essentially the woman I follow. Her name is Talia, and she is a person who is like a programmer of like human beings. Like it's very like tech-y, but it's also very deeply embodied. And she says it's the epigenetics of mind-body reprogramming. And essentially, essentially like we're all born into like these like frequency fields. We have like the body, we have the mind, and then we have the spirit body. And the spirit body holds the code, essentially, right? So it's kind of like, what is vibrating within me? If we're all vibration, which is like, I think I might be going into a crazy like little downward spiral here, but if we're all vibration and everything vibrates, then like, what is vibrating within me, and how do I lift that up and out of my body? And it's all about like lifting things out of your body. It's like embodying the innate and unique, like perpetual intelligence that we have as human beings, because we're perfect, right? We're designed perfect. We're nature. So it's all about getting you closer to that, that perfection of nature, and getting rid of those things that we were sort of like, that we came here to overcome.
So juicy. I love it. Okay. What about who's a woman in your life? And I assume and hope that there are many, but who's someone who's really inspired you?
That is a really good question. Yeah, like so many people come to mind. I mean, one of them is Frida Kahlo, who I think is like a very like cliche thing to say, but I have just adored her work since I was probably in, I don't know, early high school, maybe a freshman in high school. I found it and I was like, what is this? This is no like nothing I've ever seen before. And as I've grown and learned about her work, I've come to understand that, you know, there's this great Frida Kahlo quote that's like, I will never stop making art about myself. This is paraphrase. I'll never stop making art about myself because I'm the subject I know best. Yeah. And I really relate to that because I write essays about myself and like the experience that I have in my life. And not to mention like the colors and the, you know, deep diving in the themes. It's just like, she was just such a phenomenal artistic mind. So that's definitely one. I think another is my grandma too. She is she was just diagnosed with dementia, so like her part of her consciousness is just somewhere else. And I recently had a dream about her where I was like, she was in my dream but she wasn't like embodied in the dream. And so I kind of said to her, I was like, Grandma, are you here or are you just like here? And she was like, no, I'm just here, you know? And I told one of my friends about it and they were like, well, that consciousness has to go somewhere.
Wow.
I was like, okay. So she's just like with me all the time. And like lots of her things are in my house. And she's just like, she is truly like one of the kindest people I've ever met. And I adore her and I love her. And I cherish every day with her. So.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Well, where can our listeners like find out more about you, support you, you know, get some of that light in their lives?
Oh, yeah. I love. I'm on Instagram. I'm pretty active on Instagram. My handle is @BabeRoar. And I love an Instagram story. I mean, that's just everything to me. It's great. But that's really the only place that I'm on the internet. And otherwise, you can subscribe to Gray Area, and the subscribe link is in the bio of my Instagram.
Perfect. And then, you know, I probably do not have a lot of listeners where you live locally, but you are also very involved still in your comedy community.
Yeah. I run an open mic called Rough Drafts at a local vegan bookshop cafe here, and it's every last Wednesday at 7 p.m.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, thank you so very, very much. Loved having you. Loved chatting with you. I'm literally like, how can I make her talk to me like this again?
I loved it. Yeah, let's do it.
Hi, go.
Oh, thank you.